Anyone who can lead in French? Anyone who can lead the prayers in French? Anyone who can lead the prayers in French or in English? Yes. No, what I'm saying is in French, in English, between two of us. If you will not be too tired. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay.
Nous allons établir la motivation appropriée. Nous allons établir la motivation appropriée. Mais on va entendre bien là et moi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. OK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. OK, ça marche? Oui. Un, deux, trois. Yeah.
Hello, 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 hello.
On va
Thank you.
entendre les deux voix. On va entendre les deux voix en même temps là, dans la salle.
Hello.
1, 2, 3. And if we speak together.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. No. So what happens is the setting probe motivation and some of the chanting I will do.
Okay.
The rest.
Yes. Okay.
Jimbal will do. But setting probe motivation.
D'abord, commencez là. Votre pratique en cultivant une motivation appropriée.
Refuge field, Bodhicitta field, and the purposes practice.
Tout doucement, quand là. Donc, il consiste en 3 parties. Tout en gardant à l'esprit 2 aspects, l'objet visualisé, la manière dont vous le visualisez. Okay.
Okay. And as I'm sharing with you all these, the motivation, setting motivation, so forth, these are for us to learn. It's not just a part of ritual. It's for us to learn. And then on a daily basis, if you find that these 10-day retreat is useful, you feel that it's for my own well-being, and these are to be practiced, then the how to practice, for that matter, we are deliberately coming early in the morning and doing the practice together and doing the recitations, taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. So there's reason there for that purpose. So therefore, just try to remember what the points that I'm sharing with you, and then you can do that on your own even after the retreat. So with this mind, a setting proper motivation, which has 3 parts: refuge field, Bodhicitta field, and the purpose is practice. And the refuge field, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened masters like Are Nagarjuna, Bodhisattva Are Deva, Acharya Chandragirti, Bodhisattva Chandrakshita, Bodhisattva Chandideva, and so forth. And in fact, all the Bodhisattvas. And that they are so loving, caring, and embracing. The more you feel that, more you're connected with the enlightened beings. And for the Bodhicitta field, visualize your 2 parents, all of them members, including children, and all other dear mother sentient beings living on a side. Here you are like the mother, and all others are like children. And number 3, the purpose of this practice is to awaken hidden treasure within us. Hidden treasure meaning, technically speaking, the Buddha nature, the Tathagata Garbha, is within us. That needs to be awakened. Only when that is awakened, all our painful tears will stop, which is technically known as nirvana. and your ease will expand to infinity, which is technically known as Buddhahood. It's for your own well-being and for the well-being of all Tibetan sentient beings. With this in mind, and for that, we have to apply the most powerful remedy to overcome the mental defilements, and the remedy lies in the wisdom of emptiness. And this wisdom must be supported by the motivation bodhicitta. And bodhicitta indeed must have the ground of the renunciation. So with this mind, let's recite from page 3.
Par grande compassion, vous avez enseigné le saint Dharma afin d'écarter toutes les vues fausses. À vous, Bouddha Gautama, je rends hommage. Par grande compassion, vous avez enseigné le saint Dharma afin d'écarter toutes les vues fausses. À vous, Buddha Gautama, je rends hommage. Par grande compassion, vous avez enseigné le saint Dharma afin d'écarter toutes les vues fausses. À vous, Buddha Gautama, je rends hommage. Sangye Chudan Soki Chonam Lai Chanjo Bardo Dane Kyabsuji Agi Jinso Gibe Tsoknam Ki Dora Benjir Sangye Dubara Sangye Chudan Soki Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Kyabsuji Dagi jinso gibe tsoknam ki dora penjir sangye dubara jo sangye chudam soki chawnam la chanju bardu dhani kyabsu chi dagi jinso gibe tsoknam ki dora penjir sangye dubara jo. Jusqu'à l'éveil, je prends refuge en le Bouddha, le Dharma, le Sangha, par les accumulations issues de ma pratique de la générosité, etc. Puisse-je accomplir l'état de Bouddha pour le bien de tous les êtres. Jusqu'à l'éveil, je prends refuge en le Bouddha, le Dharma et le Sangha, par les accumulations issues de ma pratique de la générosité, etc. Puisse-je accomplir l'état de Bouddha pour le bien de tous les êtres. Jusqu'à l'éveil, je prends refuge en le Bouddha, le Dharma et la Sangha, par les accumulations issues de ma pratique de la générosité, etc. Puisse-je accomplir l'état de Bouddha pour le bien de tous les êtres. Dans l'existence dépendante, il n'y a ni cessation, ni production, ni annihilation, ni permanence, ni venue, ni aller, ni différence, ni identité. Je me prosterne devant le parfait Bouddha, suprême parmi tous les orateurs, qui enseigna cette paix qui est libre de réification. Je me prosterne devant les mères des auditeurs, l'assemblée des bodhisattvas et des bouddhas comme suit. La cognition de toute chose qui guide les auditeurs en quête de pacification vers la paix complète, la cognition des voies qui permettent aux bodhisattvas d'aider avec altruisme les êtres errants à parachever le bien du monde, et l'omniscience qui par sa pleine possession aide les bouddhas à exposer la variété des enseignements dotés des aspects complets des sujets. Celui qui est devenu l'autorité valide, motivé par l'altruisme pour être bénéfique aux êtres, l'enseignant, Sugata et protecteur, devant vous je me prosterne. Celui qui a éliminé le filet des proliférations conceptuelles et qui est doté des corps divins, du vaste et du profond, diffusant pour toujours de nobles raies de lumière, devant vous le Bouddha, je me prosterne. Inspiré par la sagesse et la compassion, aujourd'hui en la présence du Bouddha, je génère l'esprit d'éveil pour le bien de tous les êtres. Et ensuite, le mantra de Pratitya Samutpada Hridaya.
Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham dathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Sham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodham Evam Bhati Mahashramanaye Swaha.
Donc, la signification du mantra. Tous les phénomènes naissent de causes, les causes sont proclamées par le Tathagata. Et ainsi que ce genre de ces causes est ainsi enseigné par le grand renonçant. Profond, apaisé, libre d'élaboration, claire lumière et incomposé, tel est le dharma semblable au nectar que j'ai découvert, ne trouvant personne qui puisse comprendre la profondeur de cet enseignement. Je me retirerai en silence dans la forêt. Inconcevable et inexprimable perfection de sagesse, sans naissance ni cessation de la nature de l'espace, objet d'appréhension de la sagesse individuelle, je me prosterne devant la mère des vainqueurs des trois temps. Ensuite, les quatre sceaux. Tous les composés sont impermanents. Tous les contaminés sont de la nature de la souffrance. Tous les phénomènes sont vides et dénués de soi. Le nirvana est la paix. Le guru est le Buddha, le guru est le dharma, de même le guru est le sangha. Le guru est la source de tout ce qui est noble, je prends refuge en le guru. Par le son du vibrant tambour du dharma, vous libérez tous les êtres de la souffrance. Je vous prie de bien vouloir demeurer et de donner les enseignements jusqu'à la fin d'innombrables milliards d'éons. Les Bouddhas ne lavent pas les négativités des êtres, pas plus qu'ils n'ôtent leurs souffrances de leurs mains ou qu'ils ne leur transfèrent leur réalisation spirituelle. C'est en leur enseignant la vérité de l'inciter que les êtres sont libérés. Ensuite, les instructions, c'est de partir des quatre attachements. Si vous êtes attaché à cette existence, vous n'êtes pas un pratiquant spirituel. Si vous êtes attaché au samsara, vous n'avez pas de renoncement. Si vous êtes attaché à votre propre but, vous n'avez pas l'esprit d'éveil. Si la saisie advient, vous n'avez pas la vue. Les mains jointes, je supplie les Bouddhas de tous les horizons d'allumer la lampe du Dharma pour nous tous qui sommes égarés dans l'obscurité de la souffrance. Ayant généré l'esprit d'éveil suprême, j'invite tous les êtres sensibles à être mes hôtes et je m'engage dans les pratiques plaisantes et excellentes du plein éveil. Puissais-je devenir Bouddha pour le bien de tous les êtres.
Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha.
Ensuite, la louange au Buddha Shakyamuni, donc c'est page 15. Oui. Enseignant, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, Bouddha parfaitement accompli, parfait en connaissance et en bonne conduite, Sukata, connaisseur du monde, guide suprême des êtres à discipliner, enseignant des dieux et des humains, devant vous, Bouddha Bhagavan, glorieux vainqueur Shakyamuni, je me prosterne, je fais des offrandes et en vous je prends refuge. Lorsque, ô suprême parmi les humains, vous êtes né sur cette terre, vous avez fait 7 pas, puis avez dit, je suis suprême en ce monde. Je me prosterne devant vous, sage, alors. Avec des corps purs, une forme suprêmement pure, océan de sagesse, telle une montagne d'or, dont la renommée rayonne dans les 3 mondes. Sublime protecteur devant vous, je me prosterne. Avec les signes suprêmes, le visage comme la lune sans tache, de couleur semblable à l'or, devant vous, je me prosterne. Des nuées de poussière comme vous, les 3 mondes ne le sont pas, sage, incomparable, devant vous, je me prosterne. Sauveur à la grande compassion, enseignant, connaissant toutes choses, chant de mérite aux qualités telles, un vaste océan. Tathagata, devant vous, je me prosterne. Par la pureté, il libère de l'attachement, par la vertu, il libère des royaumes inférieurs. L'unique voie, la pure réalité sublime devant le Dharma qui pacifie. Je me prosterne. Vous êtes libérés, montrez aussi la voie de la libération. Chant sacré, doué de qualité, parfaitement dévoué aux préceptes moraux, devant vous, sublime Sangha, je me prosterne. Je me prosterne devant le Bouddha, chef des bipèdes. Je me prosterne devant le Dharma, protecteur. Je me prosterne devant la Sangha, suprême. Devant les trois, je me prosterne toujours avec révérence. Avec une dévotion absolue, je me prosterne toujours devant tous ceux qui sont dignes de prosternation, en offrant autant de corps que l'ensemble des particules qui constituent tous les mondes. Ne commettre aucune négativité, accomplir un trésor de vertu, discipliner cet esprit qui est le vôtre, tel est l'enseignement du Bouddha. Comme une étoile, une aberration visuelle, la flamme d'une lampe, une illusion, une goutte de rosée ou une bulle, un rêve, un éclair, un nuage, voyez ainsi toutes choses conditionnées. Grâce à ces mérites, puissent les êtres atteindre le rang des omniscients, subjuguer l'ennemi que sont les défauts, et puissent-ils être délivrés de l'océan samsarique agité par les vagues, de la vieillesse, de la maladie et de la mort. Le Sutra du cœur, page combien? 31, merci. Oui, c'est là, c'est là. Merci. Je me prosterne devant l'Arya triple joyau. Voici ce qu'une fois j'ai entendu. Le Bouddha demeurait au pic des vautours de Rajagriha, entouré d'une grande communauté de moines et d'une vaste assemblée de bodhisattvas. Le Bouddha entra alors dans l'état de recueillement appelé profonde illumination, portant sur les catégories de phénomènes. Au même moment, le Bodhisattva, le grand être, le noble Avalokiteshvara, contemplait la pratique de la profonde connaissance transcendante et vit que les cinq agrégats étaient eux aussi vides de nature inhérente. Alors, inspiré par le pouvoir du Bouddha, le vénérable Sharadvatiputra s'adressa au Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, et lui demanda comment devrait s'entraîner un enfant de noble famille qui souhaite pratiquer la profonde perfection de la sagesse. Il dit cela, le noble et grand Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara répondit ceci au vénérable Shariputra. Ô Shariputra, le fils ou la fille de noble famille qui souhaite pratiquer la profonde perfection de sagesse, doit considérer les choses ainsi. Il lui faut voir correctement, de manière répétée, que les cinq agrégats sont aussi dénués de nature propre. La forme est vide, la vacuité est la forme. La vacuité n'est autre que la forme n'est autre que la vacuité. De la même façon, les identifications, les discriminations, les facteurs composés, les consciences sont-ils vides? Par conséquent, Shariputra, tous les phénomènes sont vacuités. Ils sont dépourvus de caractéristiques, ils ne naissent ni ne cessent, ne sont ni souillés ni non souillés, ils ne sont ni déficients ni parfaits. Donc, Shariputra, dans la vacuité, il n'y a ni forme, ni sensation, ni discrimination, ni facteurs composés, ni conscience. Il n'y a ni œil, ni oreille, ni nez, ni langue, ni corps, ni esprit. Il n'y a ni forme visible, ni son, ni odeur, ni saveur, ni objet tangible, ni phénomène mental. Il n'y a pas d'élément visuel, et ainsi de suite, jusqu'à il n'y a pas d'élément mental, ni d'élément de la conscience mentale. Il n'y a ni ignorance, ni extinction de l'ignorance, et ainsi de suite, jusqu'à il n'y a ni vieillesse, ni mort, ni cessation de la vieillesse et de la mort. De même, il n'y a ni souffrance, ni origine de la souffrance, ni cessation, ni voie, ni sagesse exaltée, ni réalisation ou absence de réalisation. Si Shariputra, puisqu'il n'y a pas de réalisation, les bodhisattvas s'en remettent à la perfection de la sagesse et s'y établissent l'esprit libre de tout voile et donc sans peur. Ils transcendent totalement les méprises et accèdent au nirvana ultime. Tous les Bouddhas des trois temps parviennent de manière manifeste et totale à l'éveil complet, authentique et insurpassable au moyen de la perfection de la sagesse. Aussi, le mantra de la perfection de la sagesse, le mantra de la grande connaissance, le mantra insurpassable, le mantra inégalé, le mantra qui apaise toute souffrance doit être reconnu comme vrai car il ne ment pas. Ce mantra de la perfection de la sagesse, le voici proclamé. Tadyatha om gate para samgate bodhiswaha. Voilà comment Shariputra, le Bodhisattva Mahasattva, doit s'entraîner à la profonde perfection de la sagesse. Alors le Bouddha sortit de son recueillement et félicita le Bodhisattva, le grand être, le noble Avalokiteshvara, en disant excellent, excellent, fils de noble famille, il en est ainsi, il en est bien ainsi. Il faut pratiquer la profonde perfection de la sagesse exactement comme vous l'avez exposé. Les Tathagata eux-mêmes se réjouissent. Quand le Bouddha eut prononcé ces mots, le vénérable Shariputra, le noble Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, toute l'assemblée, de même que le monde des dieux, des humains, des asuras, des gandharvas, se réjouirent et louèrent grandement les paroles du Bouddha.
Om Kate Kate Aragate Arasamgate Bodhiswaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Ragate Arasamgate Bodhi Yata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha.
Par les enseignements des trois joyaux suprêmes possédant le pouvoir de vérité, puissent les obstacles internes et externes être transformés, puissent-ils être dissipés, puissent-ils être non existants, puissent-ils être pacifiés, puissent toutes les forces négatives opposées au Dharma être complètement pacifiées, puisse la multitude des 80 000 obstacles être pacifiés, puissions-nous être séparés des problèmes et conditions nocives au Dharma, puissent tous les plaisirs être en accord avec le Dharma, puisse le bonheur propice et parfait se répandre ici et maintenant. Ensuite, les 8 strophes. Avec détermination, la détermination d'accomplir le but suprême pour le bénéfice de tous les êtres qui surpassent même le joyau exaucant les souhaits, puissais-je continuellement les chérir. Lorsque j'interagis avec quiconque, puissais-je me voir comme inférieur à tous et du plus profond de mon cœur, respectueusement considérer les autres comme supérieurs. En toutes circonstances, puissais-je scruter mon esprit et dès que naissent des pensées et des afflictions qui sont malsaines pour moi et les autres, puissais-je les prévenir et les affronter avec force. Quand je vois des êtres au tempérament mauvais et ceux affligés par la non-vertu et d'intenses souffrances, puissais-je les chérir car ils sont difficiles à trouver, comme si j'avais découvert de précieux trésors. Lorsque d'autres, par jalousie, me maltraitent, avec calomnie et mépris, puissais-je prendre la défaite sur moi et leur offrir la victoire. Si quelqu'un que j'ai aidé ou en qui j'ai fondé de grands espoirs me traite de manière extrêmement blessante, puissais-je toujours le voir comme mon enseignant précieux. En bref, puissais-je offrir directement et indirectement bienfaits et bien-être à toutes mes mères, et puissais-je prendre secrètement sur moi toutes leurs blessures et souffrances. Puisse tout ceci ne pas être pollué par les souillures des 8 considérations mondaines, et puissais-je, reconnaissant toutes choses comme illusoires, dépourvues d'attachement, être libéré des liens. Par mes 2 collections, aussi vastes que l'espace que j'ai assemblé en travaillant avec effort dans cette pratique pendant une grande durée, puissais-je devenir Bouddha pour guider tous ceux dont l'ignorance obscurcit l'œil sage. Et ensuite, la pratique en 7 branches. Ah, peut-être l'offrande de mandala d'abord, non? Attendez. Pratique en 7 branches, oui, c'est ça, merci. Je me prosterne devant le jeune Arya Manjushri. Vous, les Bouddhas, les lions parmi les humains qui avez atteint la libération dans le présent, le passé et l'avenir, dans les mondes des 10 directions, à vous tous, avec mon corps, ma parole et mon esprit sincère, je me prosterne. Avec l'énergie de l'aspiration pour la voie des bodhisattvas, avec un respect profond et avec autant de corps qu'il y a d'atomes dans le monde, devant vous tous, Bouddha visualisés comme réels, je me prosterne. Sur chaque particule se trouvent des Bouddhas aussi innombrables que les particules elles-mêmes, chacune entourée d'une foule de bodhisattvas, et je suis convaincu que la sphère de tous les phénomènes est entièrement remplie de Bouddha de cette manière, avec des océans infinis de louanges à vos égards et des océans sonores issus des différentes facettes de ma voix. Je chante l'excellence époustouflante des Bouddhas et vous célèbre tous, ô Sugata. Des fleurs magnifiques et des guirlandes majestueuses, de la musique douce, des huiles odorantes et des ombrelles, des lumières étincelantes et de l'encens sublime, je vous les offre, ô victorieux Bouddha. Des habits raffinés et des parfums enivrants, de tas de poudre de bois, de santal haut comme le mont Mélo. Toutes ces offrandes merveilleuses disposées de manière spectaculaire, je vous les offre, ô vainqueur, avec des offrandes transcendantes, incomparables et vastes, avec une admiration profonde pour tous les Bouddhas, avec une force de conviction dans la voie des Bodhisattvas. Je les offre et je me prosterne devant tous les vainqueurs. Toutes les actions nuisibles que j'ai commises avec mon corps, ma parole et mon esprit, submergés par l'attachement, la colère et l'ignorance, toutes celles-ci, je les expose ouvertement et totalement devant vous. J'élève mon cœur et me réjouis de tous les mérites de tous les Bouddhas et Bodhisattvas des 10 directions, des réalisateurs solitaires, des auditeurs sur les voies de l'apprentissage et de ceux allés au-delà, et de tous les êtres ordinaires. Vous qui êtes les lumières brillantes des mondes des 10 directions, qui avez atteint l'omniscience d'un Bouddha à travers les étapes de l'éveil, vous tous qui êtes mes guides, je vous prie de tourner la suprême roue du Dharma. Avec les mains jointes, je vous présente sincèrement la requête, vous qui pouvez passer en parinirvana. S'il vous plaît, veuillez rester avec nous pendant des éons aussi innombrables que les atomes du monde, pour le bonheur et le bien-être de tous ceux qui errent dans le samsara. Quels que soient les mérites que j'ai accumulés en faisant des prosternations, des offrandes et en me confessant, en me réjouissant et en suppliant les Bouddhas de rester et d'enseigner, je dédie maintenant tout cela pour le plein éveil de tous les êtres. Cette terre ointe de parfums, jonchée de fleurs, ornée de mon Meru, des 4 continents, du soleil et de la lune, je la visualise comme un chant de Bouddha et je l'offre. Puissent tous les êtres jouir de cette terre pure. Les 4 dharmas du Vénérable Gampopa. Puissais-je être béni afin que mon esprit se tourne vers le dharma. Puissais-je être béni afin que ma pratique du dharma soit sur la voie correcte. Puissais-je être béni afin que la voie soit libre de défauts. Puissais-je être béni afin que les défauts soient vus à la lumière de la sagesse supérieure. Les 4 dharmas du Vénérable Bhikshu Mahasattva. Tandis que je deviens frustré par l'ignorance qui saisit une existence véritable, veuillez s'il vous plaît me bénir afin que je génère un renoncement authentique en voyant tous les aspects du samsara comme vicieusement abjects. Veuillez s'il vous plaît me bénir afin que mon continuum mental déborde de précieuses bodhicittas qui consistent à chérir autrui plus que soi-même. Veuillez s'il vous plaît me bénir afin que je possède une expérience immaculée de la sagesse de la vacuité qui ne voit pas même un atome de réalité intrinsèque et qui a pour fondement la compréhension que les choses adviennent en dépendance par le simple fait d'être conditionnées. Veuillez s'il vous plaît me bénir afin que mon continuum mental déborde de la précieuse sagesse de félicité, vacuité non duelle. Allez, bon. Et ensuite, le fondement de toutes les qualités. Le fondement de toutes les qualités est le maître bienveillant, parfait et pur. Une dévotion correcte à son égard est le fondement de la voie. En ayant clairement vu ceci, en déployant des efforts importants, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je m'en remette respectueusement à lui. Ayant compris que la précieuse liberté qu'offre cette renaissance est obtenue pour une seule fois, qu'elle présente un grand bénéfice et qu'il est difficile de l'obtenir à nouveau, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je fasse naître continuellement l'esprit qui, jour et nuit, en extrait l'essence. Cette vie est aussi impermanente qu'une bulle d'eau. Bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je me souvienne de la rapidité avec laquelle elle s'altère et que la mort surgit. Après la mort, tout comme l'ombre suit le corps, les résultats karmiques vertueux et non vertueux se suivent. Ayant trouvé une ferme et décisive conviction en cela, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je prenne toujours soin d'abandonner toutes les fautes, même les plus subtiles, et que je puisse accomplir toutes les vertus. Les excellences du samsara sont insatisfaisantes et non fiables. Y aspirer est la porte de toutes les souffrances, identifiant ses défauts. Bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je développe une grande aspiration à atteindre le bonheur de la libération. Guidé par cette pensée pure, l'attention, la vigilance et l'esprit consciencieux s'en suivent. La racine des enseignements est le maintien des vœux de Pratimoksha. Bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que j'accomplisse cette pratique essentielle. Tout comme je suis tombé dans l'océan du samsara, il en est ainsi de tous les êtres mémères. Bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je prenne conscience de cela, cultive la suprême bodhicitta et prenne en charge la libération des êtres transmigrants. Même si je développe bodhicitta, mais que je ne m'entraîne pas aux trois types d'éthique, je n'atteindrai pas l'éveil. Reconnaissant clairement cela, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je m'entraîne avec grande diligence dans les vœux des bodhisattvas. Une fois que j'aurai pacifié les distractions envers les objets erronés et que j'aurai correctement analysé la nature de la réalité, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin de faire naître rapidement dans mon continuum mental la voie unissant le calme mental et la vue pénétrante. Étant devenu un récipiendaire pur par la pratique de la voie commune, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je franchisse le seuil sacré pour les êtres fortunés du véhicule suprême du Vajra. À ce moment-là, la base de l'accomplissement des deux types de réalisation est de garder de manière pure les vœux et samaya. Comme j'en suis devenu fermement convaincu, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que je protège ces vœux et engagements, même au péril de ma vie. Puis, ayant réalisé l'importance des deux stades, l'essence du Vajrayana, en pratiquant les 4 sessions avec grande énergie et sans relâche, bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin de réaliser les enseignements du Saint Maître. Ainsi, puissent les maîtres qui montrent la noble voie et les amis spirituels qui la pratiquent avoir une longue vie. Bénissez-moi, je vous prie, afin que soient complètement pacifiés tous les obstacles internes et externes. Au cours de toutes mes existences, jamais séparé de mes maîtres parfaits, puisse-je jouir de la magnificence du Dharma, après avoir parachevé les qualités des terres et des voies, puisse-je rapidement atteindre l'état de Vajradhara. Français? French? First French? Or first French? On peut faire d'abord mixement en français. Vous êtes Avalokiteshvara, grand trésor de compassion, n'objectivant pas l'existence réelle, et Manjushri, maître de sagesse immaculée, ainsi que Vajrapani, destructeur des hordes de démons sans exception, ô Tsongkhapa, joyau coronal des sages du pays des neiges, Losangkhapa, à vos pieds, je me prosterne.
Gombo Lo Sa Trambe Shab Lo So Ma Ne Le Me Ze Ve De Je Je Se Je Me Gembe Om Bo Jambe Yang Anjen Kembe Tso Yen Zong Gamba Lo San Trambe Shab La So Ma Ne Ne Me Ze Ve De Je Je Se Boy, boy, jump, on so yeah, so gamba. Lo San Trambe Shab Lo So Ma Ne.
Je peux le refaire en français. Vous êtes Avalokiteshvara, grand trésor de compassion, n'objectivant pas l'existence réelle, et Manjushri, maître de sagesse immaculée, ainsi que Vajrapani, destructeur des hordes de démons sans exception. Ô Tsongkhapa, joyau coronal des sages du pays des neiges, Losanjapa, à vos pieds, je me prosterne.
Now we'll do the generating the consequent mind of
Maintenant,
yoga.
nous allons faire générer.
Okay, for this we have 4 things to do. One is the Shamatha meditation. Okay, Shamatha we didn't explain yesterday. Okay, so let me quickly explain. Many of you already know this, the Shamatha meditation. Finally, what we've learned is that the our mental defilements are to be removed in order to awaken hidden treasure within us. And to remove the mental defilements, we need to resort to a very powerful remedy, which is the wisdom. And what we learned yesterday is that this is distraction. Yeah. So what we learned yesterday is that finally the long-term benefit that we're seeking, the long-term benefit. And in the first place, seeking immediate short-term benefit and long-term benefit. Those who see long-term benefit, they are smart. They are the intelligent people, they're wise people. So we need to look for long-term benefit. meanwhile not compromising with the short-term benefit. For long-term benefit, we see that it is to stop all the temporary, all the problems which recur all the time while we accomplish the short-term benefit, but short-term benefit, they are not long-lived. So the problems recur. So not long-term benefit where all the problems stop altogether. And for that matter, we need to look for the internal resource, which is the Buddha nature. So where we remove the mental dirt and the Buddha nature inside manifests completely. The next question is how to remove the mental dirt. So what we learned yesterday is by introducing the wisdom. So this wisdom is like the light. It's very important to really rationally understand all these things so that we oftentimes people talk about, okay, I have laziness. So although I know how to practice, but because of laziness, I cannot do. So yes, is it laziness? Yes, it is laziness. For some people who may be on heavy medication for whatever reasons, you may feel it's laziness, but it's a physiological fatigue, the heaviness that you feel exhausted and you think it's lazy. It's not lazy. It's not the laziness. It is the physical fatigue created by the heavy medication. But for some people, it can be a karmic from the past life, karma, where you are in the best of the influence environment, and still your mind is not active. It is lethargic. And whereas when you own your own, and then you tend to become lax, whereas in the environment like this, then you feel more active, which means that we have the potential, we have the provision to bring about a change in ourselves, like to curb, to get over the laziness. Yes, when you're on your own, and then when you're not with other people, then you feel a little lazy. There can be a part of laziness. At the same time, how to overcome that? One is being with good companions, like this group, where you are actively involved every day. Then your mind builds a tendency to be active all the time, to be active in a virtuous way. And this is one thing. And the other thing is to know things so precisely well, what are the consequences, where you can go if you practice, what is the wisdom emptiness, how I can practice it, and how I can make it easy. When you know all these things, and then of course initially being the support of the sangha, of like this group. And then there's going to be auto operation. You can overcome the laziness. Okay. So two factors, one to be in good companions, and the other to have a thorough knowledge. If you have thorough knowledge, it'll give you the ease. Because you know that as we practice it, then I get stuck, and then I'm lost, and then I don't want to go any further. That is what we call as laziness. But if you know so well, if this happens, I do like this, and if this happens, I do like this. If you know the procedure so thoroughly and how to overcome what are the remedies by which to overcome the obstacles, then the laziness can be overcome. Okay, this is how we have to do. With this mind, the light to be introduced to encounter the mental defilements, so finally to let this enthusiasm come out, and more so the Buddha nature, the Tathagata to manifest, we need to remove the mental dirt. And the mental dirt, eventually finally we see that mental dirt boils down to ignorance. To remove the ignorance is like darkness. In dark, we don't see what we don't see around you. With the ignorance, you don't see the reality. So how to counter the darkness is by introducing the light. So likewise, how to encounter the darkness or ignorance is by introducing the light of the wisdom. So what is this light of wisdom? This light of wisdom should have two qualities. This light of wisdom should have two qualities. One is that it should be extremely bright, if you have to read a book, and in the middle of the night, midnight, there's a power cut, and then you have to light a candle. Let's say you light a candle. So this light is to help you read the books. But if the light is very feeble, it doesn't serve the purpose for you to read the books. It can strain your eyes. So light should be very bright, number one. Number two, that light, not only that is bright, it should be very stable. If from the corner of the room there's a wind blowing and the light is flickering, again, it'll strain your eyes. The light must be very steady and stable. So the wisdom is the light of the wisdom as well should have these two qualities. One, it should be extremely bright, bright meaning sharp and intelligence. Sharp and intelligent, how to make it happen? So it is only through exercising, keeping active, study more, if possible, initially, it'll be good to be in community, in Sangha, as a part of Sangha, like attending these retreats, where there's active studies happening. This will make your mind sharp. The next is to stabilize the mind. The mind needs to be stabilized. So one is the sharpness and one is the stability. So these are to be built through meditation, a study in the form of it's two kinds of meditation to build your sharpness and intelligence, and a meditation to stabilize the mind. And a meditation to build your sharpness and intelligent mind is known as analytical meditation. And a meditation to build the stability of mind is known as shamatha meditation. So a single point meditation, these two. A single point meditation, the highest level of which is known as shamatha, and the stability, the analytical meditation, highest level of which is known as the special insight. So you may hear the word vipassana. So vipassana, there are two kinds. One, according to the mainstream Nalanda tradition, and one according to the 10-day vipassana course. So these two different things. It's not the same. But it's not that one is better over the other. Both are equally good. But then we need to know what each one of them is. So not to confuse that the popular 10-day vipassana is happening everywhere in the world, and I truly, truly adore. And this practice is so precious. It's so precious. But of course, it really depends on who is leading these retreats. Some teachers or some guides may not be so experienced. Some may not have the vast knowledge, just the learnings how to do the single point breathing meditation, sensation meditation, so forth. But they don't have vast knowledge. If you come with more questions, they may not be able to give the adequate answer. But some are very good guides. So the point is that they're not confused between these two. Whereas the Nalanda tradition Vipassana, that is very different from the 10-day Vipassana course. Very different, but the same label, meanings are very different. So not to confuse these two traditions, or not, I won't say traditions, these two techniques. I deliberately use the word, especially in the translation of the Vipassana in English, special insight. In French, I don't know. Okay, so in English, I prefer to use the word English, not confused with the 10-day Vipassana, because the 10-day Vipassana, you can directly start. Anybody can start 10-day Vipassana. But this Vipassana in the Sanskrit, the Narendra tradition, so there, only with the stability shamatha meditation, only you succeed with shamatha, only then you can start the Vipassana. That's different. Techniques different. So not confused. That's what we're doing. But for information, any studies that you do, studies to sharpen intelligence, these all fall in the family of Vipassana meditation or special insight meditation. Any kind of analysis that you do to sharpen intelligence, particularly to get you to understand what is the emptiness, to take you closer in that direction, they all fall under that category of the special insight meditation, analytical meditation. And then what we do now is going to be introduction to the stability meditation or shamatha meditation. For this, I see there are many of the seniors, but for newcomers, for you, I'm explaining this just for today. From tomorrow, we'll straight away jump into the practice. Okay, so for the stability meditation or the shamatha meditation, we have to study more extensively, but I'm going to give you the skeleton of what you do, how you do. For this, 4 things to keep in mind. One is body posture. And number 2, the focal point. Number 3, identify the errors of meditation. And number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Let me repeat it. The first, body posture. Number 2, focal point. Number 3, identifying the errors of meditation. Number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. First, the body posture. For the body posture, and the cross-legged position would be good, but it's not mandatory. You can sit on the chair, that's perfectly fine, but not really on the too soft sofas. Too soft sofas, then your mind will instantly become lax. So that's not too good. And so cross-legged position would be good. And number 2 is the backbone upright. In other words, back upright. While you keep it back upright, make sure that your back is, your body is flexible. It's not rigid. It should be flexible. At times, when we do meditation with backbone upright, there's a tendency that our body becomes stiff. If that happens, once in a while, try to keep an eye on the body to see if your body is stiff or not. If the body is stiff, it's not going to actually relax the body while you keep your body upright. Upright meaning not like this. Some people just tend to see like this. It's not a good position. It can really, this is when I was younger meaning when I was a teenager, this is my position like this. Or, majority of the boys and girls, they see like this. So then later, I come to learn with the meditation, things that this is very bad. So, and this is very strange. We can fix our body. We can fix our body, our vertebrae, the spine. We can fix it. How? Just try to keep your body like this always. If you want to lean, when you're not meditating, you want to lean against support, you can lean. You can is support, but you keep your body flat, straight, up or down, still straight, not like this. So this is very important. So then even the spine, it will organize itself. The spine, it organizes itself and gradually, let's say, where earlier there were spaces, all these spaces where there are the extra things because of like hunchback, you sit straight like this. Gradually, what happens is that even the body, this is amazing. Our body has a tremendous, it learns itself, it adjusts itself. But of course, better to do it at a younger age. Better to do the body, the capacity to fix itself is at the younger age. But keep in mind, each one of you believe, do you accept, do you agree with me? Each one of us, whatever lifespan that you're left with, today you are the youngest. So therefore, use this youth. So after 5 years, you will not be body will be not as good as what is today. So today is the youngest. So use this to make sure that make it a habit. Be mindful to always sit upright. And it's amazing, our body, even the bones, the body has a tremendous capacity to adjust itself. And what is unnecessary things which added earlier, they will all be removed by just sitting, learning how to be mindful of how to sit properly. Okay, so body upright and your head tilted for a little bit, and eyes not closed. And particularly for single-point meditation, stability meditation, eyes not closed. Eyes should not be closed. And if you keep eyes closed, it's very dangerous. And how dangerous? If you want to know, we can discuss later. Whereas when you're doing analytical meditation, the mind is already very active. Deliberately, you're keeping the mind active. So there, some people may find it easier to do it with eyes closed. That's fine for the analytical meditation, analysis. Whereas for single point meditation, if you keep your eyes closed, instantly the mind will shut down and the rigor will disappear. When the rigor is gone, whole purpose of meditation is gone. Okay, so eyes not closed, eyes half open, 45 degrees cast down, and just ignore. And the tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate to avoid excessive accumulation of saliva in your mouth. Breathe normally. Don't force your breath. Don't control the breath. Let the breath flow naturally. And your right hand on the left hand, and the two thumbs joining, forming a triangle. Place this gesture on your lap in a restful state. This is your body posture. And there are other, say, the hand gestures like this, and so forth. Okay, it's not that one is right, one is wrong. All are correct, but particularly this gesture is known as the gesture of the Buddha Vajrayana. Okay, so the Buddha Vajrayana's position. So how we sit like this is known as Buddha Vajrayana's position. There's a blessing of the Buddha Vajrayana, the way we sit. And of course, there's the psychophysical, the combination where it's most effective for your practice, this body posture. Next is the focal point. Focal point, we're going to meditate on. There are so many focal points taught by Arya Sangha. And what we're doing is one of the simplest, and the other traditions within Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, within Tibetan Buddhism, Sakyaka, Gyunying, Magelo, and likewise the different Hindu traditions, likewise Sufi tradition, likewise the Christian, the meditations and so forth. All are perfect. There's nothing wrong. As long as your mind, there are two things happening. One, that your mind is able to build the stability. Your stability increases. One. Where your proactivity increases. Two. Where these two things are happening, any meditation, if it contributes to increasing these two things, where the stability increases, where the proactivity increases, that's good meditation. Whereas if your stability diminishes, stability meaning that your mind starts, instead of the mind gaining stability, if the mind starts building a habit, you'll be scattered. It's not good meditation. All what you're doing is wrong. And the proactivity, where the proactivity subsides, this is not good. It's not good. Some meditations, so let me say, some meditations encourage you to stop the reactivity. So the practice of the shamatha, practice of the stability meditation should help us to stop the reactivity. So oftentimes, some teachers say, don't react. This is to stop the reactivity. Reactivity is impulsive reaction that must be stopped. Meanwhile, the proactivity should not be stopped. Proactivity must be encouraged. These are very different. Some meditation techniques are there which only teaches you how to stop the reactivity, but they don't teach you how to increase the proactivity. So whereas the attaining Buddhahood, you require incredibly a great proactivity. Okay, what is proactivity and what's the reactivity? For example, a doctor. So a surgeon, for example, let's take the example of a doctor. A surgeon, there's emergency surgery required, emergency surgery. Why the person's mind should be so focused. You agree? Should not be scattered. If it's scattered, it can cut the wrong kidney. You're getting it? You know that? So you are supposed to remove the left kidney, the damaged kidney, and instead of remove the left kidney, remove the right kidney, the correct one. Gone. Because of the less focus. You do the wrong thing. Now this is where the reactivity is active. Reactivity should be stopped so that the focus is there. For this, left kidney to be removed, left kidney removed. Don't touch the right kidney, which is intact. Okay. Then next is proactivity. Reactivity stopped, and then because of which your focus. Next is the proactivity. What is proactivity? Proactivity is where the surgery should be done within a span of 10 minutes. You have only 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, surgery should be completed. And you are in a state of chill. You're focused, do very slowly, you're not fast. Then time up, the patient dies. So therefore, you need the proactivity. Extremely active and efficient. Extremely active and efficient. That's known as proactivity. So some teachings are there. Some people teach you how to stop the reactivity. Don't react, don't react, don't react. Just let the thoughts pass by. That's good. It helps to stop the reactivity, but it doesn't teach how to create the proactivity. When you become a Buddha, when you follow the Bodhisattva path, you require incredible proactivity. How? Say within the interval of a snap, like this. Like this. What's the duration? This duration about like 13 milliseconds. Within 30 milliseconds divided into 65, less than 1 millisecond. What's the half a millisecond? Within half a millisecond, what is millisecond? So fast. Within the less of half a millisecond, the Bodhisattvas, they train to meditate on 173 topics without altering the sequence. Proactivity. So you have no time to think like this. Slow. You have no time. I'm up. Finish. So therefore, with two things, keep in mind, stop the reactivity and increase the proactivity. So these two trainings are required. Both are required. Okay. So I don't want to go too much into this. Okay. So now for the focal point, I say one thing we do is first count the breath. Just count the breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and out, combined together is one cycle. Again, breathe in, breathe out. Cycle 2, we do it for 21 times. But in group, it'll be easier. You can do 4 or 5 minutes. 21 cycles of breathing is 1.5 minutes. And when it's in group, you can do for 5 minutes. For young people, it can be like 60 cycles. And for elders, it can be like 80 cycles or 90 cycles, because as you grow older, the breath becomes shorter, shorter, shorter. Younger ones, the breath is the healthier and younger, the breath, the duration is longer. As you grow older, your breath becomes shorter, shorter. Okay. So just count the breath, number 1. Then the next, multitasking. While you count the breath, you also do visualization. Visualization of a tiny white dot placed between your nose and the upper lip. Okay, touch the spot. Nose automatically is known as philtrum. Just touch this without looking at it. You will feel it. Now scratch your back. Scratch your back. Do you feel it? Do you feel the scratch? Do you feel the scratch? You feel the scratch. Yes. So the immediate information was gathered by the body consciousness, tactile consciousness. And when you say yes, information is passed to your mental consciousness. Let me repeat it. Immediately when you feel it, it is the sense consciousness, body consciousness, which feels the touch. And then the information by the body consciousness is passed to the mental consciousness by the body consciousness. So finally, the mental consciousness is the center of the processing information. It gathers information from the five senses. So when it's fresh, the body sense consciousness picks up the information. So when somebody catches too strong and it's very painful, the body sense consciousness picks up the information and give it to the mental consciousness. Mental consciousness says, yes. So when the fire is there, again the body consciousness picks up the information, and the mental consciousness, body says, yes, then the body retrieves. Because the mental consciousness, of course, is passed to the brain and mental consciousness. These two work hand in hand together. And so finally the information is picked up by the mental consciousness. And meditation is done by your mental consciousness. Meditation is done by mental consciousness. So this white dot that you are visualizing, your eyes should not be looking at it. Is your mental consciousness looking at it? For example, like behind you, you see the picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and behind you there are the stacks of books. So you're not looking at it, but you know the books are there. You can visualize, okay, behind me there are the stack of books. You can visualize that. That's done by your mental consciousness. When you become a Buddha, it's your mind, mental consciousness, which has to become Buddha. Mental consciousness. So this mental consciousness has to be improved. Gade, para, sam gade, bodhisoha. It is happening on the level of the mental consciousness, not on the sense consciousness. Sense consciousness will become worse. Your eyes, but till your 30s or 40s, you don't wear glasses. And then your 40s, you wear glasses. And even though you may realize emptiness directly, but your eyes are hopeless. Your mind, mental consciousness becomes so sharp to see emptiness directly, but eye consciousness too hopeless to wear the glasses. Sometimes the glasses too thick. Which means that eye consciousness, sense consciousnesses, they can shut down, but the mental consciousness will not shut down. It can shut down if you don't practice. If you practice, it will become sharper. For example, like my teachers, Venerable Geshe Damdul, now 96 to 97. You ask a question, before you're able to ask a question, complete your sentence. You cannot formulate the question so well. My teacher will say, is this your question? He will tell you. Just listen to one or two lines, he will tell you, is this your question? You cannot articulate so well. Look at the sharpness of their train. They're trained. So this is mental consciousness. So beautifully trained. Because the training in mental consciousness, it supports the neurons, synapses. It supports the synapses. And there's no growth of the new neurons. But whatever neurons you have, the connections to what you call the synapses or synaptic connections, they're reinforced. So the information, the transmission happens so effectively. Likewise, my teacher, Venerable Geshe Damdul, he must be now 94. Same. You all ask questions, he'll say, yeah, your question is good. And so he will see way 2-3 layers behind your questions. So he'll then give the answers. Okay. So this is where the mental consciousness can be trained. While the sense consciousness then become sense consciousness, they're purely dependent on the externals, the what? Sense organ. And sense organ, every time as you grow older, a sense organ go down the lane. So sense consciousnesses, they can become weaker, but the mental consciousness can be improved all the time, can be improved. Okay. So with this in mind, 2 things for the focal point. 1, to count the breath, and simultaneously or multitasking, visualizing a tiny white dot between the nose and upper lip. So 2 things happen together. Number 3, identify the errors of meditation, what mistakes can be made. So generally speaking, broadly speaking, two mistakes. And then with your own experience, the mistakes can take, these two mistakes can take different forms. Then you have to discuss with your own teacher, and who's actually well versed in the meditation, who has experienced meditation. You have to discuss with this. Particularly, I would say that the teachers who are, say, the well read, not just meditation without extensive studies. So without extensive studies, they know what they're doing. But if beyond this, if you ask questions, they get stuck. They get stuck, meaning that answers that they give may not be too helpful to you. Whereas somebody who is vastly read and then who meditates, if you ask questions, so whatever questions that even though what you experience, the teacher may not have experienced that, but the teacher has seen all these explained in the text. So they will explain based on the experience, coincided with the what's taught in the text. But even to have anybody who's actually practicing, even that is so precious to meet with. So nowadays, it's so rare, people who are so committed. Okay, all these combinations with a vast learning plus fully dedicated meditation practice is so less. And then this combination is so less. And then if you say where you meet with the teachers who are so vastly read or extensively studied, and then plus who is dedicated to the Dhamma practice. I learned there are some centers in France. I know that there are some teachers who are so well read and extremely great scholar, plus their practice is so very, very fortunate. So you're very fortunate to have these teachers in your life. So just make the most of, don't necessarily go for big names here, big name, this. And instead the teachers really available in your place who are really committed in their practice in a vast way. That's the best. So why I'm saying this is that some people, they would ask, they would ask me, Geshe-la, shall I get this? Shall I receive this empowerment? How is Yoga Tantra, HYT? Short form, HYT. I learned from Singapore. HYT. What is HYT? How is Yoga Tantra? Right? So they would ask me, Geshe-la, should I receive empowerment, HYT of this, that, and so forth? I said, okay, just wait. And they receive. Or after receiving, then they come to me. Saying that, oh, I have this commitment, that commitment, I cannot do now. What should I do? So I said that I do not ask you to receive empowerment. So who's ever given empowerment, go there. Oh, it's too big. This is a problem. Too big, I cannot have access. This is a problem. So what I'm saying is that it's not about the name, it's not about the title, it's about the person's practice. You're not seeking title, you're seeking the practice. Anybody has a good practice, and who has a good practice, we never know. With names, with titles, without titles. Even amongst people who are without titles, they have amazing learning and amazing practice. You want this practice, you don't want this title. So what I'm saying is that the teachers that are really available around you, make use of these teachers. Make sure that you take the greatest, of course, with due respect and learn. This is very important. Don't treat them as like your colleagues. If you treat like colleagues, then the blessing that you get is a colleague blessing, not the teacher's blessing. If you treat somebody as your teacher, then you get the teacher's blessings. If somebody treated as a Buddha, you get the Buddha's blessings. Okay, but to see the Buddha, you have to make sure that later complications don't arise. Oh, my Buddha is not good, right? Which means that you don't understand what is Buddha. So, okay, so a little bit of digression. So now, what kind of mistakes can one make? Generally speaking, there are two mistakes. And if you are a serious practitioner, you will see that these two mistakes can manifest in different forms. So for this, you need You need to seek the help of teachers to fix those problems. And if you are well-read, if you study the Dhamma very systematically, the programs conducted here in Kalachakram, in Nalanda, in various places, then you become independent. You become independent, and you see that these things can happen. The same problem can manifest this form, that form, so forth, because that you studied it so extensively. You know where the problems happen, and you become self-sufficient. With this, for example, like that great teacher, the student of Lama Deshe. So later in his life, his student, I think it was Lozawa, or the Lozawa Londesher, I think Lozawa Londesher, I think so. So the Rumdegevajun is actually regarded as the emanation of the Aravalokiteshvara. And once when he was aging and he was going for a walk with the student escorting him, at one point he said, I need to take a little rest. And then he just put his head on the student's lap and he fell asleep. And the student, just looking at his teacher, saw that his teacher has become old, so the student started to weep. And the tear dropped on the teacher's face, and the teacher woke up. And the teacher said, why are you crying? Why are you weeping? And the student said that, now I see that looking at my teacher's face, I can see that my teacher's growing old. So where should I turn to when I have questions to ask with respect to my journey of the enlightenment? To whom should I ask? To whom should I turn to? And the teacher said, turn your mind to the scriptures. So somebody, scriptures meaning, study the texts extensively, study the scriptures extensively. This is the point. So where you are well-read, where you have studied them very systematically, well-read doesn't mean that you read a lot of books. There's not meaning. Study the texts systematically. Then you become independent. Okay. So the two errors that can potentially happen, one is mental laxity and the other one is mental excitement. Mental excitement is the overactivity of the mind. Mental excitement is the overactivity of the mind, and the mental laxity is the inactivity of the mind. These are two problems. So when these two things happen, what should we do? Apply the remedies to overcome the errors. Apply remedies. Remedies twofold: introspection and mindfulness. Introspection is to keep an eye on a mind to see if your mind is meditating or it is in a lax state, sleepy, or mental sinking, or lethargic, or mental heaviness, or the mind is overly active, distraction, it's been scattered. So if any of these two problems, with the help of the introspection is like vigilance, observing your mind to see what your mind is doing. And through this introspection, if you see that your mind is distracted, overactive, or inactive, into laxity or excitement, then you apply the mindfulness. The next remedy, mindfulness. Mindfulness is like a robe. It's like a robe. If you lose your pet dog, what do? First, you go and search the pet dog. That is the job of the introspection. Once you find the dog, then the job of the introspection is done. That's the job of the rope. Tie the dog with the rope and bring it. You tie the dog with the rope and bring the dog to your house and tie to the pillar in the house. Like the dog is the metaphor for your mind, and the rope is the metaphor for the mindfulness. And bring the dog back and tie him to the pillar of the house. Pillar of the house is a metaphor for the object of meditation. So bring the mind back to the intended object of meditation. So this is how we should be meditating. Ready? 5 minutes. Okay. The next renunciation. Renunciation, we do that based on the 4 seals. So this is going to be what we did now is the single point meditation. And what we're going to do now is the analytical meditation. And for the analytical meditation, there's going to be purely guided meditation later on. And after retreat, when you do on your own, you can also do the analytical, and you can do it. Make sure that you know how to do the analysis. And the more the studies, more the systematic studies that you have, richer your analysis, more profound your analysis is going to be like. So therefore, just make sure that we learn how to do the analysis in the meditation. Okay, this is going to be guided, and try to just flow your mind according to instructions given. And whatever instructions being given, at the moment, don't try to compare, contrast with what you've learned before, what you've read before, what you have the practice before. And if you want to correlate or see the contrast or compare, then you can do it later, not at this point. At this point, you are to just focus on the flow, to invoke the experience to the best you can. Are you ready? Renunciation is to renounce the miseries. To renounce the miseries, as the Buddha taught, Ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tathagata hyavatat. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. So, to renounce the miseries, we need to know how to renounce the causes of the miseries. And the cause of miseries, Buddha identified the ignorance, and within the ignorance, Buddha identified various levels of ignorance. So particularly, the Buddha identified 4 kinds of ignorance. Ignorance which misconceives impermanent phenomena as permanent. Ignorance which misconceives misery as happiness. Ignorance misconceives impure things as pure. And finally, the ignorance which misconceives bodhisattva's nature of selfhood. To counteract these 4 kinds of ignorance, Buddha taught the 4 seals, particularly the first 3 seals. And the 4th seal is a resultant state. The resultant state of our practicing the wisdom, 3 wisdom, the 4 wisdoms to remove the 4 kinds of ignorance. Okay, the first, all composite things impermanent. Here, the all composite things which are composed of material parts and temporal parts in time, should necessarily be impermanent in nature. And impermanence, to contemplate on impermanence, cross and self-impermanence, the things that you can see around, like pyramids, the gigantic pyramids, or the Taj Mahal and so forth. These are all the teachers of impermanence. These are the tombs. These are the places, the burial spots, where somebody was buried. Who was buried? Somebody who was so famous and big names. However big, they all go to the dust. We are all going to go to dust. This reality. 200 years ago, there were young people as young as you are, older than you, younger than you. Where they now? And the younger ones, the children, there's so much expectation of their careers. Their parents, likewise, they have expectation from the children. And where are they now? Where expectations are fulfilled and not fulfilled. They're all gone. It's not that they're unfortunate. We are very fortunate. No, it's a matter of time that 200 years down the line in the future, 200 years, very long time in the future. No, 200 years ago, in the past, there were people and they were thinking the same thing 200 years in the future is too long. Now is the reality. We are here 200 year, and say from the point of view of those people who are 200 years ago, for them 200 years long, too long in the future. But now it's become reality. So this is exactly what happens. There will be time where what we say is very long time in the future is so real alive as a present moment. So there, not even a single person out of the 8 billion human beings will be alive then. This is reality. So this being the reality, impermanence. Impermanence means change. Change means things, composite things don't remain static. They change to the next. What the next is going to be like, what next is the result. What the result is going to be determined by the cause. If the cause is a bitter gourd seed, only bitter gourd will grow. If the cause is mango seed, mangoes will grow. So likewise, in a case, the cause is what kind of mental state that you have. If a mental state is very positive, only happiness will follow. But if the mental state is contaminated, only miseries will follow. Contaminated by the afflictions, only miseries will follow. So this is what the Buddha indicated as all contaminated things are suffering nature. And suffering, one moment of such a tragedy is good enough to nullify all the past moments of the festivities, celebrations, birthday parties, and so forth. One moment of such a tragic event, loss of near and dear ones, it just shatters your whole existence, or the illusion of picnic, partying, and so forth, as just totally hollow and meaningless. Yes, it's so painful to think of these. And when will this stop? When will these painful tears stop? They will never stop on their own. They will never stop on their own. 2024, 2025 stopped on their own. When will these pains stop? Impermanent phenomena, while some they stop on their own, but there are other categories will never stop, and they will never stop, like time, your mind, and so forth. And there's a third class of impermanent phenomena, which never stops unless until you put a conscious effort to stop them. What kind of effort is required for us to stop these painful tears? To learn how to stop the cause of the painful tears, and the causes the Buddha indicated as the ignorance. How to counter this ignorance? Ignorance is like darkness. We need to counteract the darkness of ignorance by igniting the light of the wisdom. What is the light of the wisdom? The wisdom is a discerning mind with apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's the reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal. Everything is nature, emptiness, selflessness. That everything is like a dream, not real. If you discover this, like when you discover the dream as dream, the dream goes as just mental creation. All your fears of the dream goes stops. Likewise, if we discover, as the Buddha taught, that not only the dream, everything else that you experience, your body, your family members, the friends, the world, the food that we eat, everything is like dream. And it's like waking up, you wake up, and all the painful experiences of samsara stops. This is known as the fearlessness. This is technically known as nirvana. This is amazing. Amazing. Just imagine that you realize that everything's like dream, empty of objective reality. And this, the benefit of this is that all your painful tears, all your sorrows are transcended, and peace dawns in you, a genuine peace dawns in you, everlasting peace dawns in you. This is what the Buddha indicated as transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Change the experience for a while. we can now generate very strong desire to experience this emptiness where every phenomenon is seen like a dream, where all my fears dissolve and the peace dawns in you in a lasting form. This aspiration is the genuine understanding of renunciation. Okay, slowly we'll move to the bodhicitta practice. Okay, ready? For the bodhicitta practice, again, there are two methods which we're going to learn over the span of this retreat. The method, the sevenfold course of a method to generate bodhicitta, and the method of equalizing exchanges of others. There are two methods there. And but in group, usually I do the four vegetables because to manage the time. But due to constraint of time, we do the four vegetables and to conclude by the bodhicitta commitment. Whereas when you're on your own, then we have to do the two methods. And the two methods initially, you can alternate the two methods. Today, if you do the first sevenfold course method, the next day you do the equalizing exchanging method to generate bodhicitta. Let us not be too ambitious initially. And later on, through your own experience, if you see that, okay, now there's no problem with me doing the two methods together in one sitting, you can do that. But initially, it's better to the alternate two methods for the reason that it is much time consuming, plus it drains your energy a lot. It drains your energy. And then when initially the first few days, you may not feel that your energy is drained. Actually, energy is drained. And the indication is that after a few days, then you'll stop the practice completely. Okay, so but if you alternate between the two methods, then you will not be excessively drained or you're not too tired, and you can be consistent with the practice. With the consistency, it will become easier. Then you can do the two methods together in a single setting. Okay, so we'll do the four vegetables. Ready? And for the four vegetables, sometimes people report that the four vegetables, this practice is so superficial. My mind doesn't really resonate with these practices. Yes, this is the reason. This is the reason why it is known as the practice or the training. And that, for example, like it is like playing music or practicing music, keyboard. You press the keys, mimic your teachers, but no music. There's only noise coming out. Noise and the music, they don't resonate. But through practice, doing it continuously, then gradually this noise will disappear and turn to beautiful music. It's all because of the constant practice. So this is known as a practice. If you already have these experiences right from the beginning, why do we need to practice? So practice will make no sense. So with this mind, even though it does not resonate with your thought processes, natural thinking, it doesn't matter. Just continue doing this for your own well-being. That you become a happy person, gradually it'll take time. Are you ready? The first immeasurable loving kindness. Think of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattas in a space in front of us, to inspire us, to bless us, to be a role model. And with the Bodhicitta filled you to parents and all of them members with children and all the members with you. And imagine that you are leading this practice and you are inspiring everybody to do along with you. First, immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The causes of happiness primarily consisting of the most beautiful mind of bodhicitta and the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness. May all my dear mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattas, like the mother after all these many years of raising children, and today you as a little girl, age 12, you as a little boy, age 11, 12, you go to the mother, tell the mother, mother, please take rest. You have done everything for us. We know how much you love us. We also love you so much. We are grown up now. We'll take care of all the siblings. And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. She's so happy. This is exactly what happens to all Buddhas and Bodhisattas. And this happiness and the pride the Buddhas and Bodhisattas feel invokes their compassionate minds to send for nectars of soothing lights towards you and all dimension beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars by the bodies of beings yours instills in all happiness and the cause of happiness in the minds of sentient beings yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all of them other sentient beings. You're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, starting with the relief. Next, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. Causes of suffering primarily consist of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. May all my dear mother sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattas, witnessing that you're making such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate minds to send forth nectar for soothing lights towards you and all sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars for the bodies beings yours washes up all the miseries and causes of miseries from the minds of sentient beings and yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all the sentient beings. You're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths down with relief. Next, immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they're endowed with. May all my dear mother sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they're endowed with. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they're endowed with. The Buddha's Bodhisattas witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke the compassionate minds to send forth nectars for soothing lights towards you and all sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies of yours stabilizes happiness and the causes happiness that being sent out with. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all the sentient beings. You're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Finally, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment with some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear mother sentient beings with total love and affection, leaving them aside. May all my dear mother sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment with some and aversion towards others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment with some and aversion towards others. The Buddhist Bodhisattva is witnessing that we make such courage, commitment, intense happiness of you. This part of happiness invoke their compassionate minds to send for nectars of soothing light towards you and all dimension beings. A mere touch with lights and nectars with the bodies of beings yours frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment with some and aversion towards others, and instead make them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear mother sentient beings with total love and affection, leaving them aside. And you witnessing such miracles happen to all the dear mother sentient beings, you intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underscoring all the four miserables is the unconditional love. Abiding is unconditional for a while. Imagine that you are looking in the eyes of each of the beings with total love and affection, to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in your eyes. With folded hands, let us make a Buddhist commitment 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Slowly transform this incredibly beautiful Mother Bodhicitta into a spotlessly clean white moon disk, horizontally sitting with the heart. This is the most beautiful, appealing mind that possibly exists in the entire universe. And this is a foundation, this main stem from which the Buddhahood arises, where all the fears will drop. You become fearless. All your ease expands to infinity, and you'll be in a position to share this wisdom with all the dear sentient beings. And slowly, so this bodhicitta that we generate in the form of moon disk, horizontally sitting heart, is so precious. But remember, no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out. Yes, I know that. I have a Buddha nature within me. I'm not like a handful of sand, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil does come out. If this were the case, how come that this Buddha nature inside is never manifested since time immemorial till today? Yes, it's all because that I'm deceived by 2 demons, self-grasping in a self-centered attitude, always coming the facade of being the best of my friends. And today I'm disillusioned by that. I'm going to exterminate them at all cost. But how going to exterminate them? But it's only a very powerful remedy, which is the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, let's quickly retrieve the experience of the wisdom of emptiness, which we meditated as a third of the 4 seals. Okay, just imagine that you discover everything's like a dream. Okay, first visualize that you are having a very scary dream of a ghost chasing you, and there's so much of fear. And the ghost grabs you, and you think that you are dead now. The moment you think that I'm dead, your mother wakes you up. What's the feeling? So much relief. Why relief? To discover that the ghost was just my dream, purely subjective projection, empty of objective reality. Wow, that's amazing. Now imagine that the Buddha is indicating that not only the dream goes, but everything is like a dream. Wow, that's amazing. Just imagine that you see everything like dream. Wake up from the unconventional dream of samsara. All the justice of the fear of the ghost in the dream drops when you wake up. Like the fear of all samsara will drop the moment you discover empty nature of all phenomena. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, this experience of emptiness. Slowly transform this into a spotlessly clean, thumb-sized white vajra, or vertically sitting on the moon-discovered heart. Okay, it's amazing that you've generated such amazing. The Vajra moon is known as the blaze of non-dual bodhicittas, that are the book that we have. The moon, symbolic of the conventional bodhicitta to exterminate the self-centered attitude, and the Vajra, symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta to exterminate all the mental defilements, both afflicting or cognitive obscurations. Amazing. Yes, it's indeed amazing to guarantee that you will experience total fearlessness and infinite happiness. Yes. But remember, your parents, your children, all of them members, all Tiamat ascension is suffering terribly. Yes, generate very strong compassion for them. This compassion invokes the Vajramuni in the heart to multiply infinite number of times. She had one side of the Vajramuni in the heart of the mother, one side with the father, one side with each one of family, your children, your family, beings here in France, in the world, in the oceans, all the trillions of creatures in the ocean, they all get a share of the Vajramon from you. Likewise, the infinite creatures in the wilderness, in the forest, in France, in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe, everyone gets a share of Vajramon from you, which you so generously shared. And meanwhile, let's not forget all Buddhist Bodhisattvas are watching us. They're so happy to see that what you've done today and to feel so proud of what you've done today. That proud inhabitants of Buddhist Bodhisattva feel, invoke the Vajramon at their hearts to multiply infinite number of times. Like a rain shower, they descend to merge with the wonder of they have to visualize your heart, thereby become non-dual, stabilized and blessed. Likewise, all the replicas of Vajramon from the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they descend to merge with the one that visualizes the heart of the mother, father, with each of the beings. Everyone, thereby become non-dual, stabilized and blessed. Okay, with this mind, let us turn to the 5 verses of Bodhicitta commitment. In English, page 49. Okay, in English, page 49. Okay, let me quickly explain the first verse and the last 2 verses. The first verse, what we're doing is that we are trying to awaken the Buddha energy within us. This is a journey to awaken the Buddha energy within us. We have never undertaken this journey. So therefore we require, and this is the most important journey. There's nothing more important than this journey. At the same time, we have never undertaken this journey. So therefore we require incredible great support. And the greatest support that you can think of is the Triple Gem. The first line says, I'll go for refuge in the Triple Gem. And this journey involves a road. If the road is blocked by the fallen trees and the boulders and so forth, again, you cannot undertake the journey. This road is not external road, it's a mental road. Internal road is a road of your mind. So the road of mind should be freed of the negativities, to remove the negativities, to purify the negativities. but in a very efficient way, is what the Buddha taught as confessing the negativities. Second line says, I confess the negativities individually. Now the road is clear. If the car does not have the fuel, again, you cannot undertake the journey. The car is none other than your own mind, and this mind has the inner fuel of the merit and the virtues. And how to do that? How to make the enormous amount of virtues and merit, but in short span of time, is what the Buddha taught as rejoicing in the virtues of others. Third line says, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. Now the road is clear and the car is enough fuel. What kind of journey I'm going to undertake? The last line says, I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart, which means I'm going to awaken the hidden treasure within me so that I will experience fearlessness and infinite happiness for myself and for all other dimensional beings. Okay, wholeheartedly, let's recite these three verses by contemplating on meanings as much as possible. And imagine that you're leading this practice and all beings are joining us. Ready? I go for refuge to the Tubal gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others and myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, and vowed all sentient beings to be my guests, and shall engage in the appealing deeds of excellence of enlightenment, may I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Tubal gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, and will all sentient beings to be my guests, and shall engage in the appealing deeds of excellence of enlightenment, may I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Tubal gem. I confess individually. I rejoice in virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others and myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, and will all sentient beings to be my guest, and shall engage in appealing this excellence of enlightenment, may I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Okay, next two verses. Let me quickly explain this. It begins with invoking your gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas to pay heed to us. And the first verse is that in the history of the humanity, do you find anybody who succeeded in this journey of awakening hidden treasure? Looking at the history book, we discovered that 2,500 years ago, there was a Prince Siddhartha, and he succeeded in his journey. How did he succeed in his journey? He succeeded by introducing two very powerful factors. The first factor is the motivation, motivation to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And the second factor, to materialize this aspiration to become Buddha, engaged in the Bodhisattva practices like 6 perfections, 4 perfections, making 10. 6 perfections such as generosity, ethical discipline, patience, enthusiasm, meditative concentration, and wisdom. And 4 perfections, skillfulness, aspiration prayers, the power, and the primordial wisdom. So engage in these practices to materialize this aspiration. And now look, even after 2,500 years later, how many beings are produced, how many beings have benefited from his teachings, leading them from the darkness of ignorance to the light of the wisdom, leading from the darkness of selfishness to the other cherishing, to feel the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. And if this were the case, I will also follow his footsteps. I will take him as a role model. I will also follow his footsteps. Second verse says, I will also create the 2 factors. I will generate the very powerful motivation of bodhicitta and also engage in the practice of bodhisattvas to materialize the aspiration of bodhicitta. Okay, let's wholeheartedly say these 2 terms together. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, peace be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and Lama shall to successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, peace be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and Lama shall to successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices. Feel the joy of having received the Esmond Bodhisattva vow. And now repeat these two mantras after me 3 times. Om Sarva Yoga Chitam Upadayami. Om Sarva Yoga Chitam Upadayami. Om Sarva Yoga Chitam Upadayami. Om Surade Samayastam. Ho Siddha Vajrayata. Ho Siddha Vajra. Yada Sukham. Om Surade Samayastam. Ho Siddha Vajra. Yada Sukham. Om Surade Samayastam. Ho Siddha Vajra. Yada Sukham. Okay. So now let's turn to the next paragraph, which is to connect us with the practice of bodhicitta, wisdom, and emptiness, and the future lives. Okay, let's say this wholeheartedly 3 times together. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion of Buddha and be able to hold the two precious bodhicittas even in the cosmic life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion of Buddha and be able to uphold the two precious bodhicittas even in the cosmic life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion of Buddha and be able to uphold the two precious bodhicittas even in the cosmic life. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have listless seized and awakened the mind of bodhicitta in this way should highly praise in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit, having well obtained this human existence. I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now in one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall it disgrace or pollute this noble and unstudied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in Hebrew rubbish, likewise by some coincidence, an awakened mind has been born within me. As supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death, it is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is a supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is a tree that shelters all beings from wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is a universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the mystic ignorance of the world. It is the quenchable butter from the churn of the middle of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the abundance of happiness, this will satisfy them with the joy, and it shall place them in the supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I allow the world to be my guest at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May God's demigods all be joyful. Okay, let's turn to direction prayer, page 55 in English. Okay, let us dedicate the matters that His Holiness the Dalai Lama has a very healthy, long life, and that the whole world will continue to get blessings from His Holiness. And likewise, may all the learning centers of the Buddha Dharma, in whatever tradition it may be, they thrive in the activity of study, contemplation, meditation, and the members there, they were a very harmonious life, harmonious, and the time with each other to grow, to help each other in the growth of the journey of the enlightenment. May the learning centers such as Kala Chakra Center and others, may the volunteers there, may they have a long life, may the Dharma practice be very successful, and they very soon attain bodhicitta and wisdom emptiness to be of incredible great benefit to all the demonstration beings by attaining Buddhahood. May all the calamities of the world, disasters in the world, and the wars, and the domestic violence, so forth, all these unhealthy events stop in the world, that everybody can take a fresh breath of air of peace and harmony with the spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood. So may the teaching bodhicitta and wisdom triumph in the minds of all demonstration beings. With this mind, let's recite the following verses together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful generous Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samadhi too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all this medicine the best way that I may follow the above example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the direction praised as the best, all the Buddhas who appeared in 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. I dedicate the medicine thus gathered to special realization that is in the prayers of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times on to the upholding doctrine, scripture, and insight, and all lives through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the steps of the path of renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages, having dispelled all inner and outer obstacles and downfalls, such as poverty, despair, oppression, cruelty, epidemics, and natural disasters, to an environmental degradation. May all beings forever enjoy the glory of peace and happiness. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. May I spend day and night carefully reflecting of what means can enhance this teaching achieved by the Supreme Savior through strenuous efforts over countless eons. From our 2 collections, vast and space that have amassed from working with that for this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds blinded with ignorance. Okay, praise to Buddha Shakyamuni. Abge tuje shakere so chon shenge meto dege bonjambam sergelum tabo jebe ko shaye yamo yala cha se no moni moni Mahamona Yeswaha Om Muni Muni Mahamona Yeswaha Tagye tuje shagye so chon shenge meto tege bonjambam sergelum tabo jebe ko shaye yamo kyala cha se lo moni moni Mahamona Yeswaha Om Muni Muni Mahamunaya Swaha Tavge Tuje Shageri So Chon Shenge Medo Ponjomba Sergelumbo Tabo Jebe Ko Shage Gemo Kyala Chaselo Oh, Muni, Muni, Mahamuna, Swaha. 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamunaya Swaha. Okay, three prayers together.